Welcome to Personal Mastery Training. I'm your host, Alvin Brown, former world class athlete turned entrepreneur and consultant. Join us as we learn from guests who have conquered their inner battles and share their journeys to success. Get ready for inspirational masterclasses and thought provoking strategy sessions to fuel your path to personal mastery. Let's dive in. Everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Mastery Cookout, the Mastery Alliance. Again, what do we serve here when we say cookout? We serve some soul food, some food that's good for your soul. We're looking to nourish you. We're looking to what we do is we bring the main meal. Someone brings the main meal, the main what it be, the main meat of the meal, and we kind of spice it up. We kind of cook it up. But remember, we don't own all meals that have been eaten. We just start the process, and we expect you to take it, dissect it, and add your own flavor to it. Right? Fresh to go. We're meals to go. So here we are today. Dr. Charlie Cartwright. He brought the main meal. He brought it. So Dr. Charlie, serve it up. What do you got?
All right. So great to be here again, as always, today. And concept I wanted to talk about is dealing with rejection. Right? We have our dreams. We want to chase our dreams. And someone a few weeks, one of the listeners a few weeks ago brought up this concept, this question about the golden handcuffs. And hey, it's just not that easy, right? I've got responsibilities, I've got bills to pay, and how can I, and I'm comfortable, right? How can I chase my dreams? And so I've been thinking a lot about that over the last few weeks, and it's not easy. And I don't think we ever try to mislead anyone otherwise, right? We let people know that, hey, it's challenging, but it's doable, right? And my gold standard for this is the story of Starbucks. That's been my gold standard for years. Howard Schultz had this vision of what Starbucks could be, taking it from 3 stores in Seattle, Washington, to over 30,000 stores worldwide. But he didn't have the money to make that initial purchase. So he had to get his sales hat on and go out and start approaching people to get enough to raise the funds, right? To get enough people to say yes to him in order to make that purchase. And he went to 242 different institutions and/or combination of individuals. And then going through that, he received 217 no's. 217, which I think if you're one of those people, you're sick today that you said no to that, right? You didn't see the vision he had. But 217 individuals, or a combination of individuals and/or financial institutions, said no thank you. However, he did receive 25 yeses. So I have this equation: 272 no's plus 25 yeses equals Starbucks. I have that on a whiteboard, and I look at it every week. Okay, many times a week, actually. I look at that. So that's been my gold standard until the other day. Until the other day, I came across a story of Byron Allen. I had this vision of starting a show, and he wanted it to be carried across, many networks here in the United States. And so at the time that he had his vision, there were 1,300 networks, television networks in the United States. You know what he did? He called all of them. 1,300 calls. He had to call them multiple times. And after a year of calling, he had 150 yeses. And, his whole concept was they'd take the show for free. He'd go out and sell advertising. There's 14 minutes of advertising available on this 1-hour show. They were to go out and sell 7 minutes to local businesses. He'd sell the other 7 minutes to national chains. Struggled. No one was willing to give him any money for production, any front money. He said, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. He said, but I moved forward. And he said his house went in and out of foreclosure something like 18 times in a 5-year period. But you know what? Today he's a billionaire because he was willing to sacrifice and to chase that vision. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
Oh boy, Ray, you want to dive in? Are you hungry for this, or should I?
I'll go
All
right
right.
in. I'll go right in. So Charlie wants to start like this today.
Okay, yeah. Somehow he brought it with some attitude. All right.
Yeah, I heard the story of Byron Allen. I'm really happy to know now about Starbucks. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna look that up too. And I was very impressed. The first time I heard Byron Allen's story. I want to go back to a couple of things you talked about, just the power of no, okay? The power of no, but inside of that message, okay, I hope people don't miss this. There's a vision, okay? There's a vision compelling enough, grand enough, powerful enough for you to go through whatever you need to go through. Okay. It excites you enough, it scares you enough, it fuels you enough to go forward no matter what. You don't put your house in and out of foreclosure 18 times if you don't have a vision that you deeply believe in, deeply believe in, that something that you feel you truly want to pursue, there's purpose in it. It just checks all the right boxes. Okay, man. So maybe that's one place to start. Okay, if you're stuck, whoever's looking, if you feel deep inside, you have that voice, okay, that there's something bigger for you, there's something else we want to pursue. But again, those golden handcuffs hold you down, or the people who maybe don't have the golden handcuffs, who have the back in the days in jail, they had like this thing tied to your ankle. I don't know how to say that in English. Maybe
Ball and
that's
chain.
what exactly. Maybe that's what's holding you back. Okay, it's different things for people. It starts with that, having a vision that's big enough, that's powerful enough, that fuels you enough to move forward. Because hey, nobody likes to hear no, but what changes everything in life, I find, is just perspective. It's perspective. If I don't have the right perspective and I hear no, then it touches my ego in the wrong places, and oh, I don't feel good. I don't like that. Okay. But if I have the right perspective, if I fuel my mind, my soul with the right things, I see the no for exactly what it is. It's just okay, not now. As you're in business or in life, you'll also understand that it's hard to grasp, a lot of us, for humans, okay, because of that ego. But people don't worry that much about you. Okay, they just don't. They don't spend their whole day, oh, this person called me and annoyed me and this and that. Most of the time when you call someone, or if you truly believe in something and you go try and they say no right now, maybe it's not the right moment, maybe they're not having the best day, and most likely tomorrow they won't even remember you. Okay, they won't even remember you. So a lot of times we stop ourselves saying, oh no, okay, I don't want to try this. I don't. People don't even think about that. If you have something that can truly make a difference, and you believe this is what you're meant to do, go all in, no matter how long it takes. It took Byron Allen a full year. It didn't happen in a week. It didn't happen in a week. That vision that you have, there's also, a timeline attached to it that sometimes you don't know how long it will take. But is it important enough? So I think that's where most of us should start. Just like anything else, if you have values that are strong enough, they will last. If you believe in them. But if you tie that in with the right habits, okay, with the right things to give you that energy, to give you that foundation to keep going, that's very important, because I guarantee you, the founder of Starbucks, Byron Allen, they were very disciplined also. When he got on that phone every single day, he had a plan. I'm pretty sure he had a very, very specific plan that will ultimately lead him to a destination. Okay, so it's one thing to have the vision, but what is the vision founded on? And what do you do every single day to fuel yourself to actually pursue that vision? It's as important, also, because the reality is sometimes people are just in the wrong place. Okay, in the wrong place. You could have all the talent in the world, want to do great things in the world, and your message, exactly where you are, deflates you simply because you have the wrong audience. Okay, you have the wrong audience. So it could be the same message, but with the right people that truly want what you have, and your whole life changes in the end. Okay, so find a vision that excites you enough and go after it. And that's where it starts, I believe. And I'll pass the mic.
All right, all right, all right. The funny thing about Byron Allen, you brought him up. I went, Byron Allen, is he still around? Yeah, he's still around, all right. He looks great. I was just I was just looking at him. I was looking at Byron Allen was just, lack of a better word, back in my day, he wasn't exactly the most charismatic guy you'd want to look up to or anything. He's kind of a little bit cheesy here and there and whatever. That's how we thought of him, right? It wasn't exactly Denzel Washington or anybody like that. And now he's looking great. He looks fantastic. Looks in great shape. He kept himself well. He's only 63 years old. He's yeah, encroaching, from what I can see here, even a billion or billionaire. If he's not a billion, he's losing at 800 million from what they're saying. But anyways, it's crazy that a lot of people are also going for the fame and the fortune and not realizing that these are quiet millionaires, billionaires rolling up, just doing their thing, right? It's steady focus. So, the funny thing is, I want everybody to kind of vibe on is that sometimes we don't realize that all we need for that thing we believe in is one yes. We don't actually need. So I believe you can reduce your stress that you feel, that angst, because hearing no, rejection itself, I think if you link it up to a functional uh, MRI where you see, the brain scan and you see what lights up in the brain, I think neuroscientists said rejection lights up in the same area as death, where you feel this pain of the rejection for some reason, right? We feel as if it's just the most painful thing we've ever gone through. And so we avoid it like the plague. So I think one of the things we can do to mitigate that feeling is realize that all you need is one yes. So 1800, 1600, whatever he heard, he knows that all the success people here, Chicken Soup for the Soul and everything, everybody, we've all heard the stories. All they needed was one yes, someone to believe, someone to give them the seat cap to start this thing, and then bang, right? If you believe in it, YouTube, I remember that story of they went to the person who bought YouTube, who invested in them for 3 million. I think this person, they went to him and said, "Hey, we got this idea. crowdsourcing people's ideas on a channel, internet, you know, and they sold it to this person. From what I remember, he lent them 3 million to get this thing rolling, and I think they sold it for 1.6 billion later on because it just took off. So we just need one yes. If you truly, and Ray said it best, he said, if you believe in the product or the service you're selling. If you don't believe it, it's a fly by night, then I agree with you. Don't put any faith in it. But if you truly believe it's a game changer, if you have that vision, sometimes, and here's the thing too, sometimes your audience doesn't see what you see. They can't see it. For instance, the internet. How many people could see the internet? Like the person working in it, on it. They saw it because they're educated. The mass of people could not see that you and I will be talking on a Zoom, because it's not there yet. We aren't there. There's a great movie out called What the Bleep Do You Know? It was a movie back in the day of The Secret, and you can Google it. Really cool. There's one scene it that stuck out for me a lot. There was a witch doctor in a town, in a village, and these people are the seers. And a lot of reasons why these people become the seers is that they're the ones who headed out of the village and saw things. And so, anyways, there's a ship coming in from the shore, and no one could see the ship. Big ship. It's a big ship. No one could see it. Only the village doctor could see it because he already saw what a ship looked like. So they couldn't see it. So he educated them on it. And in the movie, I believe, if I remember correctly, he touched their third eye and they saw the ship. And that idea was once your consciousness becomes aware of what it looks like, you now see it. So a lot of times when we have this idea, this unique idea that was given to us, specifically uniquely, no one else will see it. No one can see that the steel is becoming the next riches. No one can see that information age is becoming the next riches. No one can see, Zoom, jump on Zoom. No one can see these things, until you've been out there. I remember my wife, great story. During the pandemic, she runs a dance studio. And as we all know, the paradigm dance studio is someone kids have to be in front of you to dance. So when the pandemic hit, it was March break, so everyone was on break. She had about 2 weeks to figure out what the heck she's gonna do or close her studio. And I got to give her credit. She remembered going to a seminar. She went to a dance seminar the year before, and someone talked about this Zoom thing. And she was sitting there and she goes, someone talked about this Zoom thing incorporating. So someone saw this future of Zoom becoming a part of. Anyways, and they shared it at the seminar, but no one was interested. It was way too early. And now it happened, and she remembered hearing it. She called this person and said, hey, do you remember this? And they said, yeah. And then she jumped on Zoom, saved her studio. So consciousness, she wasn't conscious of Zoom. Zoom now appeared. So if you're the one with the idea, don't expect everyone to jump on board if it's fresh, new, unique. That's where people get stuck. Oh, I don't agree with it. Oh, you shouldn't do that. What do they know? They haven't gone down that path yet. I love being unique. The world, I often finish a lot of my uh, interaction with people, whether it be email or whatever, and I always say, the world is screaming for originality. There's too many copies, too many people trying to copy. But you got to have the courage, though, to do that. So, Byron Allen, 18 foreclosures. Can you imagine being his partner, his wife, his husband, whatever it is, your partner? And if you have kids and people that depend on you, can you imagine telling them one more? They're gonna go, loser, come on, man, we gotta eat, right? That's 18 times we're embarrassed to go with you. We got the sheriff and so anyways, that takes a lot of courage to go through 18 to get to 800 million to a billion now at 63. And that's today, 63 is very young and he looks great. So I wrote here, how bad do you want it? And the power of broke. Damon John wrote a book called The Power of Broke. He says, when you're broke, you'll do a lot of things. Sleep in your car, uh, roll up on people and sell things out of your car. You don't mind not getting no's because you got to put food on the table. Sometimes having it good enough is a danger. Good enough is a dangerous thing, you know. Having your belly slightly full is dangerous because you don't have that same. We've all seen it. In the UFC, Conor McGregor, when he was hungry, he was incredible. He got satiated. He's not as incredible in the area of UFC. I'm sure he's doing well in other areas, but in the area of UFC, that fight was gone. So we can go to multiple examples. The power of broke. There's something powerful about that being broke, mentally, mentality wise too, because yeah, when you're comfortable, it's hard, man. It's hard to hear those no's when you can go back to something that's really comfortable. You know, when you got a certainty sitting somewhere where you don't have to hear all this rejection. You know, you go in, you get your paycheck, your golden handcuffs. It's hard. So, and then I wrote here, it's not a matter of resources sometimes, it's a matter of being resourceful. I remember this young kid again, I talk about him a lot, Sam Dema, because he's truly, for a kid of 18, 19 years old, he was unbelievable. Um, he wanted to be a youth speaker, brought him up. Go back to podcast 201. You'll see I had him on there for an interview. And he wanted to get his book out there and get rolling in the youth speaking arena. No one would answer him though. A kid calls you up at 18, 19, calls up a principal or even the secretary and says, I'd like to speak to the principal, please, about coming in to speak. They're like, kid, please. So he sat back and he went, how can I get him to talk to me? Because they won't. You know, I'm calling up and saying, hi, ma'am, you know, can I talk to the principal? Are you kidding me? No, click. So he said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. He sat back and he thought to himself, I'm going to create a podcast to interview teachers, principals about their idea. And now he spoke to their ego now. Hey, what? I can talk to somebody about yeah, let's get him on here. And once he talked to them, they got to pass the curtain and saw that, oh, this kid's engaging, he's this, he's that. Why don't you come on into our school then, son? And after they're finished telling their part. So now he got himself in. See, he's being resourceful. He found a way. So again, you know, it's if you want it. And I wrote here, um, I forgot who the author of this quote is. I love it though. It says, courage is not the lack of fear, but instead it's the idea that you want something more than what the fear brings up. So whatever it is you want, you need a little bit of fear. You need it. It's survival. Who would hear rustling bushes and run behind it? No one. You shouldn't. You should check it out first. That's just natural. But when the fear starts gripping you and you can't move, you can't make a jump, then that's where the problem comes. So, but if what you want is more powerful than the fear, you will be fearless. You'll move forward. So if what you want is just kind of okay, then that's where the problem comes. It's not enough to drive you. It's not that big. If it's something a game changer, change the world in some way, change your environment, your family, generational. The no's don't matter. They don't matter. So, anyways, I'm gonna add that spice to it for now, and then I'll be back to serve some up. I'm gonna pass the dish on to Dr. Charlie Cartwright.
Yes, this is just such an important concept to really understand, and I think it can change the trajectory of your life if you understand this concept, right? So important because I don't know where I came across the idea, but I did in my youth and I think it was a combination of family, parents, and then some maybe extended family that if you were working on something or you're working at something, it wasn't going well, that's an indication that, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing that, right? And you're down the wrong road, down the wrong path, not understanding, to raise points, if your vision is big enough, if it's strong enough, if it's compelling enough, right? And Steve Jobs said, it will pull you forward. You don't need to be pushed. It will pull you forward. You need to stay with it. And if it's not working out, instead of giving up and abandoning it, you need to figure out, why isn't it working? And continue to make adjustments and continue to make adjustments. Because when this gentleman made 1,300 calls, he didn't say the same thing 1,300 times. He kept refining his conversation. He kept refining his message. And when something worked, oh, they said, yes, well, what did I do in that call? What did I say in that call that was different? I'll adopt that. And then pretty soon he had his pitch down pat, right? But it took repetition over and over and over and over, all this rejection. But with each rejection, he learned something, right? That's the opportunity to learn. And then again, how do you view that no? And the acronym I like, there's a couple acronyms that I really like to use when I hear the word no. The first one is next opportunity, right? Someone tells you no, what they're telling you is move to your next opportunity. Right? Okay, they're not interested, move to my next opportunity. But again, how can I refine my message? How can I make it better, right? Another acronym to use when you hear no is it's not obvious. So if you have a compelling pitch and the win for them, because there needs to be a win in it, whoever you're selling, when it's obvious how they can win, then the chances of them selling no has been drastically reduced. But if it's not obvious how they can win, how they can benefit, then the answer is no, it's not obvious, no. So we got to make it obvious to them, right? And that is an important element. So we got to plan, then we got to execute, then we got to reevaluate, then we got to adjust the plan, then we got to execute, then we got to reevaluate. And this is the mixture that goes over and over again until you reach your goal. And again, we can't worry about what the neighbors think, right? Because they're not really thinking about us. As was mentioned earlier, that's the reality. When we're out of sight, literally it's out of mind. People have so many things going on, and I mean, my schedule is a handful. Just keeping track of my schedule. I have no idea what other people's schedules are going on, and I just don't have time to do that. I mean, if I'm pursuing my dreams, my goals, and then managing the other aspects of my life, how much time do I really have to spend on, oh, well, the neighbor failed over there, or that business did? I'm not thinking about it, not even for 10 seconds a day. What anyone else in the neighborhood or in the town, what they're doing professionally, if I'm not connected with them, I don't know about it. And I don't have time for that because I've got a full plate here. And that's true of everyone. Everyone has a full plate and they're pretty much consumed by it. I mean, I know in the United States, and especially this time of year, there's so many people that are consumed by politics. That's all they see. They have no idea or no interest in what I'm doing. They're consumed with that. So it's so interesting that we all have this opportunity to learn and grow, but so few seize that opportunity because it is scary, right? And it's a lot of work, but the rewards on the other side of that are just so magnificent. So I looked this up too about Byron Allen. So here's this guy and he got, he said, I got to know this lady at the bank really well. And she said, I'm seeing you all the time. What's going on? And he's telling her about his dream. And she's like, well, hey, you don't ever want to let that mortgage get beyond day 89. Because if it gets to day 90, it's going to go to her desk next door and you don't want to talk to her. He said so. And then he said there was many times on that 89th day he would come in and catch his mortgage up, right? He was just doing as much as he could just to, keep these balls up in the air. All right, so that was then. This is now. So how about now? Allen has residences in Aspen, Maui, Los Angeles, and New York City. In 2022, he bought a 2-home compound in Beverly Hills, California, and a mansion in Malibu. So I think it turned out all right. With that, I'll pass the mic.
Lightly.
Yeah, it turned out all right. For sure. Hey, there's this quote or wisdom, as we say, that I find holds a lot of value today, is where there's no vision, the people perish. I'll look up exactly who said it. I can't remember right now, but I believe that's so true. You know, walking around, whatever the life that you have, if you walk around without a vision for something perishes, because it's, as Dr. Charlie likes to say, it's our default setting. We come into this world as we grow up. Human beings always like to improve things. Human beings always want to contribute to something, strive for something, whatever that is. You know, and the vision is very strongly attached to that. Now, if we stay on that vision topic, okay, and we look at Byron Allen, very amazing story. I think that in order to be the difference, you have to accept being different. You have to accept being different. It comes with it. It definitely comes with it. And being different means people don't understand. Being different means maybe you're a little bit ahead of your time. It doesn't mean you're wrong. You know, it doesn't mean you're wrong. You're a little bit ahead of your time. You know, maybe that's that, as simple as that, right? So you have to be willing to be different. And what amazes me now, as I really think about Byron Allen, okay, with this home going in and out, in and out, again, people don't necessarily understand that the fact that this man probably had a family, you know, he was probably in a relationship. If it was, imagine the level of insurance that you need, okay, insurance that you need, of focus that you need, but of extreme passion also. It doesn't happen without that. I mean, it's easy to just talk about it, but when you put yourself in a man's shoes, every day couldn't be every day couldn't be easy. He was extremely passionate and extremely believed in what he did, and he developed endurance also. And endurance is a very important trait, as you know, we live our lives wanting to be in the moment, but understanding personal mastery is a marathon. You know, it's not because I read one book that I'm done. Okay, I'm done. No, I need to commit, and I need to develop my endurance. I need to persist. Persist. Now, also another important thing, your vision needs to be attached to a lot of clarity. Okay, clarity, because again, I put myself in Baron Allen's shoes. When he gets on that phone and speaks to these people, it needs to be clear. Okay, it needs to be clear what he has in mind. Can you articulate your vision in a way that transfers to someone else's heart, to someone else's mind, and that they get to see it the way you see it? Okay, maybe it's only one person. Does your partner, wife, okay, kids, is it clear for them what you're doing? Maybe they might not understand everything, but is it clear enough? Just like LeBron James going on his 28th season, and for the past 20 years, he had to tell the wife, he had to tell the kids, here's my schedule. Okay, at this specific time, I'm not playing with the kids. It's not happening if I'm gonna be great. It needed to be clear. But also as a leader, I find what's very important is that you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan, right? Because it's one thing to be passionate, but without a plan, it's difficult for people to get on board. It's difficult for yourself to even see where you're going, okay? To see which steps you need to take each day and to stack up these bricks, on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other, so you can ultimately progress. Because everyone has seen that image of the iceberg, right? Of the iceberg. It seems like, hey, all of a sudden, overnight celebrity, people rise up, but they don't understand, under the water, man, there's all types of work being done there that people don't see every single day. That's attached to a plan, that's attached to clear vision, and you need to bring people along. You need to bring people along because none of us are a one-man band, okay? You need to initiate something, but you also need to surround yourself with the right people, in order to truly stick it with you, man. You need to be able to articulate a plan. And then I wrote this down also. What if you invested yourself so much, you believe so much, you develop so much endurance, you have a plan, you believe, you have that vision that fuels you, that you get to a point where you cannot afford to quit. Byron Allen could not afford to quit. That's for him. Maybe people see, oh man, I'm about to lose my home, and that's an extreme, yes. But for him, he's like, man, I believe in this so much, I cannot afford to quit. That's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at. Now, no matter the situation you're in or I'm in, we're all in different situations. It's really important to put all the cards on the table and see where you need to move. See where you need to move, see what matters enough and what fuels you enough that, okay, this is what I'm gonna put myself in a position, give myself a chance, to see this through without losing everything else. But if I go forward and if I take my first step, I need to develop that mentality where I cannot afford to quit. I cannot afford to quit. It's not about running the whole marathon sometimes. It's just about taking a single step every single day and decided that I'm going to persist. I'm going to persist until I'm right. Okay? Because Byron was wrong a lot of times, and then he wasn't. And then he wasn't. And that's the whole story. That's the game. That's how the game is played. You're going to be wrong if you persist long enough, and that's how you become right. Ultimately, if it's founded on the right things. And I'll pass the mic.
All right, all right, all right. Great points, fellas. Great points. I'm gonna add this. Uh, while you're going through something, a wisdom that I now take and kind of make it my own constantly is don't get through it, get from it. If you're just getting through every no or every rejection, every roadblock, challenge, if you're just getting through it, guess what you're gonna do? You're just gonna get through it and probably repeat it again because there's nothing you learn. Getting through something, you don't give yourself an opportunity to learn anything. You're just getting through it. You're just enduring it, enduring the beating. And that's not really fruitful or beneficial. What you have to do is get from it. So someone said no. How could I tweak that offer? How could I make that better? And maybe in the no, they give you feedback. They give you some feedback that says, hey, I don't like the way you presented, what you wore, hin, blah, blah, blah. You were late, something. Take the feedback. That's getting from it. If you're just pissed that they rejected you and getting nothing from it, then yeah, you're going to repeat it again. Trust me. It's going to keep getting your head, the hammer, beating your head against the wall. But what if you got from it every rejection, every no? Oh, we read your content and it just wasn't quite blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Let me see if there's some fruitful things in it. It's not easy. This is not easy, by the way, because when we get rejected, we go emotional, so it's hard to sit and take that. A dancer who goes for an audition, maybe you didn't kick high enough, or maybe you didn't do this or do that. Take it, go back and work on that. So, what did you learn during that rejection? Don't get through it, get from it. No, next opportunity, not obvious. I like that. Um, yeah, and again, these are not easy. No drives me into my emotional self. When I'm emotional, the prefrontal cortex shuts down the decision making, the being objective. It shuts it all down. We're into emotions now. So it's hard for these things to come to what I'm saying. It's not that easy. I get it. Because, yeah, no, cut. I'm either going to lash out at you or I'm going to go shrink into myself. That's what's going to happen. It's unusual to go what I'm telling you about. But train yourself to go that way. Okay, cool. No problem. I believe in my vision. I'll just take what you said. Cool. This is what stops some people too, by the way, from releasing their product or service. They want to get it perfect first. And it's very, very difficult, next to impossible, by the way, to release something and it's perfect. The word impossible, just check that out. I said that. Impossible. Wealthy companies, billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies, Apple and Amazon, they say there's something called MVP, minimum viable product. They release it, the minimum viable product. They don't wait. 60%, they release it, bang. Because the audience, will tell me my podcast sucks. Okay, why? If you're just saying it, if you're just giving me negative feedback, hating on it, I'm not going to listen to that. But I'm going to listen to the ones who have constructive. Oh, it should be this and that. And so many people, when I started this podcast, said my intro was too long because I had a repeated thing that says, hey, welcome to, and it was too long. They said your intro's too long. If you're a listener, you already know, and I got to sit through this long intro. Cool. Shorten it. I kept tweaking. And here we are. 210 episodes. Just kept tweaking. So, no, next opportunity, not obvious. And then Dr. Charlie said, so busy you don't have time to focus on someone else's. Yeah, it's true. And Ray said it earlier as well. People don't care about you as much as you think they do. They got their own stuff. We think 60,000 thoughts a day rolling through our head. Same thing, regurgitating the same. And guess what those thoughts are? Not you. One of them might be you, but that's the other 59,000. They don't have time in the day to make you an hour or two of it. It's on to something else. Next thing is, oh, poor me. Oh, I can't believe I did this. Me, I'm so stupid. Oh my God. It's usually self-deprecating, beating yourself up, and what you can't do, what you can do. So you don't have time for you. And if they do, here's the thing I wrote here. If they do have time for you, can you imagine how their life is? That means we're talking about those people with nothing to do. And now they have time for you, for your stuff. I wouldn't want to meet the person who has time to focus on what I'm doing in my life because they got nothing going on. And I don't want their opinion because they're too busy in the cheap seats. I'm not interested. But the people who are in the arena who I value their opinion, they're so busy doing their thing and being the same vulnerable as you are that they don't have time to focus on you. I don't need the opinion of people who have time for what I'm doing. So just thinking about the people who you hear gossip, who listen to the trash shows and do all these things. They're the ones who don't have the time. They have tons of time that they're wasting watching these shows. They have opinions on every clickbait material. They have all kinds of things. So, um, dare to be different. Ray brought that up. You have to dare to be different. Because again, no one's paying you $3 million for, hey, I have a great copy of Monet or Renoir. No one's gonna pay you for that. 3 million for what? A copy? Yeah, man, but it's a really good one. It's really good. I'm not paying you 3 million. The original, yeah, but I ain't pay. So again, no one's gonna pay you for a copy. And I wrote down here Blockbuster versus Netflix. Netflix came to Blockbuster and said, "Hey, I got this great idea. It's a virtual online model of your where people come and get tapes and VHS and beta and whatever else they sell, DVDs, and we're going to stream." What? No, thanks. No, thanks. I mean, you have these educated people, a whole bunch of them, I gather, sat at a boardroom table and said no. It's not one person who said no. It's probably a team of people who saw this thing and said, and I'm sure there's somebody on the team who probably kind of said it made sense, but didn't feel like wanted to be outed. So no one saw this vision. Dare to be different. They just thought everybody's gonna stick to going into a store, walking into a store, grabbing your tapes, or even if they went crazy wild, they would just send your tapes in the mail, so you don't have to leave the house. Maybe that was the innovation they were thinking, right? Keep sending you these DVDs that you can mail out. They didn't see streaming. They didn't see this guy. And where are they now, by the way? Blockbuster, I think they're gone completely. They're nostalgic. They're in a museum somewhere. They're there. So dare to be different, right? Be open and make your vision clear. I think Ray said, if your family, so Ray was saying, say Byron Allen closing, foreclosing 18 times. Your family, any stakeholder that's interested, has to be clear on what you're doing, or else they won't buy in. But here, the beauty of that wisdom is if I'm clear, if you understand what I'm doing and you're investing in me, guess what? I am then super clear. Because if you aren't clear and you know me well, your family, your loved ones, and you still not ready to invest in me, I didn't make it clear to you, and that means I don't have it clear to myself. Okay, because I'm sure, let's go to anybody, Martin Luther King, anyone who, I have a dream. If it's strong enough, people are buying in with you. They're riding or dying with you. If it's weak, I ain't riding or dying with nothing. I'm out. You don't believe this, so I'm not riding. So you have to believe in this thing so much that ride or die people are waiting there's a lineup of them. I always believed in you, man. They show it. They're ready to support you. I forgot. I think in the book Think and Grow Rich, I believe. Now I can't remember what company it was. Let's say I'm gonna throw a name out. Say Henry Ford. May not be him, but or Wrigley's or one of these older companies when Napoleon Hill wrote the book. And at one point, the company was gonna fail, and the owner went to the employees and he said, "Listen, we need money. I'm out of money. This may fail, but if you hang on with me, we're gonna ride together to the top." And I believe he came back the next day, and the company, the stakeholders, the employees in the company gathered together their savings and said, "Here, we believe in this vision so much, we're gonna give you our savings to keep this company afloat," because he was willing to bad for them. So, and the company survived and thrived. I forgot who it was. Maybe Wrigley's. It might be one of these older, bigger companies that were out there. Firestone, something in that way. So, anyways, the point is he believed so much and they believed in him so much that they were ready to go home. These are the employees and take their savings and invest back in him. And now the company blew up and they got rewarded. They're all part stakeholders now. So when you can make your vision clear enough to your family, your friends, you can go through 18 foreclosures and nobody leaves the ship. Everybody hangs on tight, right? So, but if I don't believe, if I bail on you, yeah, it could be me, but let's put it on ourselves and go, I didn't make it sweet enough for you to hang on. And I got to make this clear. So with that, pass that mic over. Pass the dish. On mute, Dr. Charlie.
Yes.
There we go. Lots of great wisdom today, and just so many notes I've written down and thoughts as both of you were speaking. And I think one of the things that came up while you were speaking, Alvin, is I think one of the important things that we need to make a practice of in order to succeed is we all have doubts come up, right? And when we get rejection, when the timing's not right, things aren't progressing as quickly as we'd like, or something goes wrong, but we've got to form the habit of doubting our doubts, right? We got to doubt our doubts that, well, this is not going to work out. I got to doubt it, right? And so when we start doubting our doubts, it's really empowering, because then we can look at all these examples of people that overcame their doubts, overcame their rejection fears. And so when we come up to an obstacle that looks insurmountable, we need to doubt it. There's a way around that. This is insurmountable, I doubt it. Oh, you're not going to be able to accomplish that. Oh, I doubt that. What? Yeah, I doubt my doubts. So we've got to be able to do that. I did look up the author of that quote you had, Ray, where there's no vision, the people perish. Yeah, God said that. It's Proverbs
Wow.
29.
Okay.
It's Proverbs 29:18. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so I was like, man, that sounds like scripture. Sure enough, it was Proverbs 29:18. And then you talked about using feedback, Alvin, and it's so true. We need to use that feedback to get better. And even though we don't like it, we need to use the feedback that we receive from the haters. We need to use that feedback because they get real specific, don't they? I didn't like that shirt you wore out. I mean, they'll tell you, and you can look at the shirt and go, you know what, there was a hole in it, or I can make my lighting a little better, or the volume can improve. They're going to be real specific. And that's really great because it's helpful. They'll point out things that we overlooked. And so the doubters, the haters are helpful if we use it to aid, our progress, right? And we've got to be able to use that. So the haters are very helpful. And then I think too, perfection. And you mentioned this, Alan. And I wrote in my notes, perfection equals paralysis. We'll be paralyzed if we try to be perfect. It'll just paralyze us. So move forward, right? 60% there, launch it. Move forward and start, working your magic from there. Yeah, and yeah, those are just some, I think some key nuggets to get people moving in the right direction, and the persistence pays off. You just got to persist, and it pays off in the end. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
There's a last thing I wrote down that ties all of this together, and I also believe that it's a challenge for most people. I've dealt with that too, and whenever I get to focusing, things get better. Is The power of one. Okay. And here's what I mean with this. Byron Allen focused on one thing. Focused on one thing. And this one thing developed into many, many other things. Okay. Uh, People look at it the other way around way too often. They try to tie it all up together, and then I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do this, and then they don't do anything. Okay, or they try to do everything all at the same time, and then they get lost, and it doesn't work, and okay, I stop. Starbucks, one, you know, one thing, with extreme focus, extreme passion, extreme discipline, planning, everything went into one thing. So that's what I would say. That's also a very, very important component of this. Focus on one thing, okay? And this one thing, maybe you want to be a serial entrepreneur, have a lot of different businesses. Great. But you're still pulled by one specific thing, okay? That all these businesses tying together, whether they do similar or separate things, there's one directing line, right? One thing you want to accomplish, the type of impact that you want to make, focus on that one thing. I believe that's key. I believe that's where you can have focus, plan, and then ultimately move forward. So the power of one, because there's a lot of shiny objects out there. Okay, there's a lot of them. In between all these no's that you're saying, that you're getting, okay, there's other opportunities that will show up, and you have to learn to say no yourself. It's not only other people saying no to you, it's you saying no to stuff yourself also, so you can focus on that one thing. That's so important. That's so important. So I wanted to add that before I pass the mic.
I got one quick thing if I could jump
Yep.
in, Alvin. I meant to bring this up in the last round, but I think it's so critical to pay attention, pay close attention to who's there for the famine, right? When you're going through your famine, who's standing by you? Make sure you invite them to the feast.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Amen. Amen. So you came in. Okay. All right. I see how that works. You just dropped that in there. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna finish off with this. Add this to the meal. Following up what Ray was saying, power of focus. And it is crucial for entrepreneurs and creators to hear this message. Start small. One of my mentors, he gave me this wisdom. Everything starts small. And what that means is if you take a look at the best example that you can look at is Lululemon, one of the best. Lululemon started out with just athletic wear, I think yoga, the yoga market, female, middle-aged, 20 something, maybe the 30s, mid 30s, somewhere around there. That was their demo. They have even a avatar, and they just spoke to that avatar and made things for that avatar. Now, damn it, I'm wearing Lululemon pants that I never thought I'd wear. I was like, I'm not gonna wear that. That's too trendy. Yeah. My kids bought me these pants. Man, they're comfortable. They got Lululemon shirts. They got for men. They have this. They have that. They have headband. They've spread that brand out now into so many areas. It's not just for that female avatar they created. Now everyone's got, a large percent of people has these, and a lot of people have attempted to copy their style, but somehow they've got it down enough to own that market. So everything starts small. Start out with your demographics. It's one of the toughest things when I work with, I'm going to shout out my man, Matthew Park, and his group. trainer revenue multiplier, which is where Ray and I kind of met, is we really focus on helping trainers to narrow down their niche. I'm talking to the 50-year-old male who is a busy professional with kids. This is really narrow it down, going through this, that, because, and the weird part about niching or in having a niche is that we think we're so hungry that we think we're gonna eliminate somebody, and we're gonna dilute our pool. So now, what if we don't have enough of that people out there? But the problem is we go so general that nobody really comes, and we struggle. But when we go more specific, we notice, whoa, it's like a dog whistle. That market that I'm talking to can hear it, and they're running. They're paying me more because I understand their pain. And so it's really a weird thing to narrow your focus, especially when you're hungry. But it's key because if you can't speak to everybody. I cannot speak to have a product that speaks to the 10-year-old young athletic uh, young athlete and the 50-year-old professional male, female, whatever it might be. I can't have that product. It has to speak to somebody. And then those other people who are listening will say, you know what, I could use that too. Let me go check it out. I'm gonna ask you if you do work with people like me because I actually resonate with your brand. Boom. Now you're in. Now you got everybody. Now you're getting a lot of people, not everybody. So it's so key to have that power of focus. It is. And don't worry. Don't worry that you're going to miss out. You're not missing out. You're missing out when you're trying to generalize what you're doing. So that is what I will add to that mix. And I think the meal's pretty good right now. I think everyone can take away what we have. Does anyone have anything to input else to this? Did I miss a spice? Did I miss anything? Oregano, anything of that? All right.
I'm satiated.
All right. All right.
Same
Okay.
here. Same
Same
here.
here. Well, if we're all satiated, then let's close it out with the one word that we're gonna take away. Or a sentence.
I'm gonna focus on yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. The word yes. We're seeking that word all the time. And so, what we focus on grows, right? So I'm gonna focus on yes. The yeses and saying yes to my dreams and yes to my opportunities and just focus on getting and receiving the word yes.
Mm. I'll go with original. Being original, everyone else is taken.
Yes,
Be
sir.
yourself. Be
Mhm.
yourself. And bring that gift to the world of being yourself.
Mhm.
Because the world needs that. So being
Fine for
an
it.
original.
Amen. And then I will then finish with one word. I did find one word. One of my favorite words is relentless. Being relentless to hearing no, to setbacks, rejection. And I would give one caveat that Dr. Charles and I were talking about just before getting on here. And we kind of talked about it, but I'm going to really make it clear. Before I say be relentless, be super certain that this thing you're being relentless about is worth it. Is worth the 18 foreclosures. So that means be clear. Because sometimes being relentless, as Stephen Covey the author, would say, you want to climb that ladder of success, but you want to make sure it's against the right wall. So every so often, stop and go, is this worth it? Does this, and how will you tell if it's worth it? Do a gut check, a heart check. Does this thing still keep you up at night, wake you up in the morning? Then it's worth it. So That's it. All right, everybody. I want to thank y'all, chefs, my sous chefs, my chefs. Thank you for making this I think it was a beautiful meal, a nutritious meal. So I think everybody, we fed the souls. We fed many souls out there. And for those who are listening, if you know anyone who needs to hear this, like, subscribe, share, spread the message. Information about my fellow cooks will be in the show notes. And there will be appearing at some place near you in the very near future as well, and lots going on. So we appreciate you, and we'll finish off with the exit that we love to say. We wish you peace,
Peace,
love,
love,
and a little bit of sprinkle of soul.
soul.
All right, everybody. Until next time.
All right, take
Have a
care.
great week.
Take care.
We'll
Have
talk.
an amazing week.
You guys
Awesome.
have a great day and a great week.
You too.